So there's a lot we saw. Let's start here. We know Yanni Gord's in COVID protocol. What other corresponding roster moves do you foresee? And with Joey Decord being absent, does that mean Chris Drieger will be available tonight, even though Philip was the first off the ice?
Yeah, Phil will start. Driegs will back up tonight. He is available. We got Yanni, Blackie, Sheezy, and Jay Leach will be in COVID protocol.
Thank you.
Andy Ide.
Hi, Dave. You called up Alexander True. He wasn't at morning skate. It didn't look like. Is he going to be here in time and be available for the game?
Yes, he will. He will be here, and he will be part of our lineup tonight.
Thanks.
Scott Malone.
Hey, Dave. It looks like you guys really shook up the power play units both late in the game versus Winnipeg and again this morning. I was wondering if you could just kind of walk us through sort of what your thought process is behind shaking up the personnel and who's on what unit and what you're hoping to see from these new units tonight.
Well, we shook up the units a little bit more today. We made a couple changes late in the game. 2 nights ago, we hadn't had a whole lot of success in the first few power plays, so we wanted to make a couple of changes there. With Jared McCann switching spots here, that gives us a little bit of a different look for sure on that power play. And then we have the flexibility with both Gio and Dunner available. With Gio back in the lineup tonight, now we have the flexibility of which one of those two that we use on either unit. They each bring a little different look to each of their units.
All right, any other questions? Scott, you have a second question here?
Yes, I do. Dave, one of the things that has been a big factor for you guys over the last month is your centers seem to have really improved in sort of the success rate in the face-off circle. What do you attribute that success to?
Well, guys, just paying attention to detail, working at it. There's obviously a routine and work that they do during practice days, during morning skates, and then simply just getting a bit more detailed in our approach, getting into the face-off dot and really putting a focus on it. It's not just a 50-50 puck battle between two players. There's 5 guys involved on either side, so you can change your the look of your percentage pretty quickly by changing 3 or 4 losses into 3 or 4 wins over the span of the 60 minutes. So it's been a good focus for our centermen and for all of our players.
If I could ask one quick follow-up, I know in talking with Alex about this, he mentioned the help and impact that somebody like Paul Gostad has had working with them. What kind of impact does having somebody like that who can come in and sort of work with your centers on those little technique things have for you as a coach?
Yeah, those are important. Those are important opportunities for our players. Both Paul and Farley work hard at it and studying, both our guys individually, and then as well looking at the opposing team. So the input that Paul has provided has been outstanding. Like I said, he and Farley have worked well together with our centermen.
Ryan Clark.
Dave, I know you've had to deal with COVID a lot this season, as of a lot of coaches, but how do you go about managing this where there's so many moving parts in a short amount of time? And then also, if you can say, has the team received boosters yet, or where do things stand in that department?
Yeah, I don't want to get into where individuals are at in terms of health. That's not an area that I'm comfortable going to. I can tell you I've had the booster, but beyond that, I don't want to comment on anybody else personally. I don't think that's my place to do right now. In terms of dealing with it, obviously, we get the information in real time here, and we've got some new information this morning. So, we want to make sure that we're clear in our minds as to who is available for tonight's game. It's not ideal to have these types of changes on the morning of a game, but as you said, it's not new for anybody in the sports world right now. So really, we just want to get all the information and then, we'll take a step back for a few minutes and make some decisions on what we feel is best for our lineup and how we put our roster together for tonight. Obviously, we have to be flexible and look for our best solutions.
Thank you.
Darren Brown.
Hey Dave, so you've played this team before. Obviously, I'm curious how much the preparation changes now that you're starting to see teams for a second time. Obviously, you have a little bit of understanding now how your team matches up against them. And specifically with Columbus, what are you looking for tonight that your team needs to do to beat this particular group?
Well, we played Columbus early in the year, so there are things that we will take from that game. There are also some things that have changed within our group. That no longer apply quite as directly, but it's nice to have some firsthand knowledge, of how a team plays and how their personnel are being used. And there are some things that, like I said, we'll take away from game number one. Columbus has been a very consistent team right from day one. They forecheck very well, they skate very well, and when you look at how active their D-core can be, they can create a lot in the offensive zone with some of their motion. So. Those are some of the things that we'll have to pay a lot of attention to tonight.
Thanks, Dave.
Erica Ayala.
Thank you. Coach, going off of what Darren was just asking you about, I wanted to ask you again about the Columbus game and how the players being in and out, either with COVID protocol or with injury, does that impact any of how you'll be going into this game? And then also, because you've had players in and out, I mean, does that change the expectation of the different lines that you roll out and how effective they can be within the game plan?
Well, as I said, we need to be flexible in the roles that players are going to be in, and that's regular based off of availability, whether it's regular injury or as we've gone through some of the COVID protocol issues. It doesn't change the expectation. It may mean that somebody needs to play a little bit different role, which means we might have to attack a certain situation a little bit differently based off of, the way our lineup looks, but certainly doesn't change any of the expectations and our basic format in terms of the way we want to play.